Come here, Alexa, it is wild to me that we only got 6 AEW women's figures in all of 2024.
The only crime is that Michael Jackson Jazzwares figure.
Oh, stop. I know. That's supposed to be Saraya. But we only got 6. That's a crime.
Big deal. What are you doing sorting out all these figures for anyway? Don't you have a top 10 figures of 2024 video to do?
Well, I'm sorting them out because I'm going to be posting my Jilly's Award Show voting videos here very soon. And it's kind of relevant what I had to say about the AEW women because 3 of the 6 made my top 10.
Wait, you're having a Jilly's Award Show this year?
Well, yeah, of course. It's a January tradition.
But we all know the Ultimate Edition Asuka is going to win Figure of the Year.
So, you don't know how the residents are going to vote this year.
Really? What figure do you think all the residents of LumberJillville will place the most votes for?
Oh, well, as a matter of fact, I think what they're going to vote for is this main event series 154, Kiana James.
What? That doesn't count. That's a fix-up you did.
Yeah, I know, but when else am I going to get a chance to show off my fix-up I did of Kiana James? Anyways, I'm going to go start my top 10 countdown. I'm really excited.
That man will do anything for a pat on the back.
Hey, did you say something like you wanted to pat my back? Here, I'll get down to you. Hey y'all, welcome to LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. Now before we get started, I just want to say that I hope you had a wonderful holiday. We're coming up into the new year, which means I'm going to do a top 10 women's wrestling figure video of 2024. Now these are just my opinions, and the figures that are eligible for this countdown is every figure that I got in hand in the year 2024. Now, that will be the criteria for the Jilly's Award Show voting, and I'll release those videos very soon of all the main event WWE figures, all the elite WWE figures, and all the AEW women's figures released in 2024. And in those videos, you'll place your votes, I'll tally them up, and then we'll have the Jilly's Award Show toward the end of January. So I'm real excited for that video, but first things first, this video was a lot of fun to make. There were so many awesome women's wrestling figures released this past year that I had a lot of trouble making this countdown, which is a good problem to have in my opinion, but I'm happy with my list, so without further ado, let's get started. At number 10, I have Maxine Dupri, WWE Main Event Series 149. So this is the one and only WWE Main Event figure that made my countdown, but I love this figure, and I think it deserves in the top 10. Now, this just shows that when Mattel puts the effort forward, they can make some amazing main event women's figures, and this one, to me, is the best main event women's figure of the year. I think the face sculpt and scan is near perfect, and Maxine has a very unique, beautiful face. And they did a great job and nailed it. And we don't see that a lot in the women's main event figures, unfortunately. So here they did an excellent job with the face sculpt and scan. I love the hair sculpt. I think it's cool that the ponytail is real loose. It's meant to be, so that has a lot of movement. I think the body part choices here are great. And I think the attire is excellent. This is one of those attires that doesn't have a lot of sculpting, but that's okay. It's very tight, very form-fitting. And I think that the paint application that they applied was very neat, clean, and I absolutely love this figure. It definitely belongs in the top 10 of the year. At number 9, I have Rhea Ripley, WWE Elite Series 110. So they finally nailed Rhea's physique in figure form. It's still frustrating that they haven't done that with superstars like Bianca, but at least Rhea, they're starting to turn a corner and make really excellent figures of her. Now, she has multiple figures coming out in 2025. I cannot wait to get that Ultimate Edition. Also, some future Elites look great. But this is the start of great Rhea Ripley figures. They've really swung and missed with her figures in the past as far as her body sculpt goes. Didn't capture her physique whatsoever. So at least here we have that strong muscular physique. I really think the attire is a cool choice. It's a unique choice. Being in the all white, we're used to the all black, dark dressed Rhea, but the look that they were going for, I think they absolutely nailed it. The face sculpt and scan is pretty dang good. I think it does a good job looking like Rhea. And overall, I just think it's a quality figure. I really like the title belt that it comes with. The tattoo detail is great. But I do think there are plenty of Rheas coming out here in 2025 that will top this Rhea, in my opinion. At number 8, I have Jamie Hayter, AEW Unmatched Series 9. I think this Jamie Hayter is the most slept on figure of all of 2024. I think this figure is freaking fantastic. I think AEW Jazzwares does such a fantastic job on their women's wrestling figures, really making each one feel unique. At least as of the last couple years, they've done a great job of making each figure feel like a miniature version of that superstar, and I absolutely love what they did here with this Jamie. Everything from the body sculpt, the attire, it might be my favorite attire of the year, honestly. There's so much sculpted detail that went into it, so much intricate paint that went into it, and that sparkly, shiny, metallic paint that they used in portions of her knee pad, also her attire, is a paint application I've never seen before, and I was blown away by it. It's such a small detail, but it goes so far in my opinion. And I really do think the face sculpt and scan is okay. I think it's a little soft, but I think it does a good job resembling Jamie, and I love the hair. It's also really cool that we get the title belt with this figure, but yeah, this figure, in my opinion, I could see this being a top 5 figure for a lot of people, but like I said, not a lot of people are talking about this figure or have this past year, and I think this figure is freaking tremendous. I love this Jamie Hayter. It is excellent. At number 7, I have Zelina Vega, WWE Mattel Creations exclusive LWO 5-pack. So this might be a controversial ranking for this Zelina Vega because I know a lot of people out there place this at number 1 for the best women's wrestling figure of 2024. But in my opinion, it's just not. I think it's an excellent women's wrestling figure. I think when you display this, it stands out more than any wrestling figure in my collection. But I think there's some details that they missed out on that really would have improved this figure. And the main thing is with this attire, they should have used metallic paint. Some kind of sparkly metallic paint application on the attire to make it more realistic to what the attire actually looked like. And another downside of this figure is the only way to get it is either Edward Bay or to get the LWO Mattel Creations 5-pack. And I don't need that. You know, when I ordered it, I was like, what am I going to do with all these other figures? What am I going to do with them all? I just want the Zelina. So I really wish this figure was a single release, but because it was included in that 5-pack and you had to pay near $100 just to get this figure, that's why it takes it down to number 7. And also, like I said, I think there's some details that they really could have added to this figure that would have made it pop and stand out more. And that's the paint application on the attire. It should have been metallic, should have been sparkly. It really should have looked like what her attire looked like that night. So is this an excellent figure? Does it stand out? Absolutely, but I think there are 6 figures better than this one. At number 6, I have Trish Stratus, WWE Elite Series 111. So I love this Trish Stratus figure. Now, the one thing I'm going to get out of the way, it is very tiny in scale. It is very small in scale. And I've said before on the channel, the only time that scale really affects the figure's overall appeal or score to me is when it's meant to go with another figure and they're not scaled with each other. So refer to Katana Chance and Caden Carter, how those two look horrible next to each other and they're meant to be together. So that's when it bothers me. So even though this figure is scaled down to be rather short, it doesn't ruin the figure for me because there's so much good about this figure. I absolutely love the attire. I love the fur they included on this entrance jacket. I love the hat. I love the face sculpt and scan. I think it is an amazing depiction of a modern day Trish. I don't think it's perfect. I think sometimes when I look at it, I'm like, but overall I think it's pretty good. And I really love what they did with the hair. It sounds crazy, but I have been advocating for years for Mattel to put more effort into their women's wrestling figures' hair, right? A lot of these women's wrestlers have different colored highlights, different colored roots, and it was never really depicted before, or at least rarely, up until recently. So I really like what they did with the hair here. I think it's really, really cool how it's kind of got the fade going on with the dark roots going into the blonde. I think it looks excellent. And also the attire is great. I think the attire sculpt is excellent. I think it's great that Trish got a unique chest sculpt. That sounds crazy. It sounds weird maybe to some, but it is her. It's her physique. It's her body. And I'm glad that they gave her those details and gave her that accentuation to make it more lifelike. So yeah, I think this Trish figure is excellent. I really, really love it. At number 5, I have Chelsea Green, WWE Elite Series 108 Chase version. So I was really going back and forth whether to include the standard or the Chase Chelsea in my countdown. I went with the Chase. Now I know the standard that's in the more blue has the tattoo on her finger. The Chase does not, but that's a little detail that I can look past. But I went with this because this attire truly stands out. It pops. It looks so great. And women's wrestlers, a lot of times with their attire, there's a lot of color, a lot of detail, a lot of extravagance as far as the colors go, and we don't get that translated into figure form much, but here we have a pink color that fades into an orange, and I think that is freaking awesome. Now, the attire that this was supposed to depict technically is more of a pink that I believe fades into a yellow, so we have orange in between the pink and the yellow, so there's a little more of a color palette there, and here we're missing that yellow part of the fade, so it's not exactly accurate, but as this figure stands, I think it looks amazing. I love the sculpted detail in the top. I love the accessories of the hat and also that skirt. I mean, and the fact that with the double jointed elbows with the finger up, we can do her shh pose is amazing. I think this is maybe the most fun figure of all of 2024. I think this one stands out so much in my collection, and I absolutely love this Chelsea. Now, the face sculpt and scan, I think is pretty darn good, but it might be missing a little something. If that was a perfect sculpt and scan, this would probably be a top 3 figure, but because the scan and sculpt is not perfect, that's why it is where it is on the countdown, but I think this figure is fantastic. At number 4, I have Zoe Stark, WWE Elite Series 114. So this Zoe Stark is another figure that kind of flies under the radar. I don't see a whole lot of people talking about it online, but for me, it's a top 4 figure of the year. Now, I will get this out of the way. I didn't cover it much in my review, but something I noticed as I took the jacket off and was displaying her, she has a really long neck. The neck is super long on this figure. Now, I don't know if the reasoning for that was purposely done so the jacket looks good, kind of going up her neck with the hair going over, because with the jacket on, it's not that noticeable. When the jacket's off, the neck looks long. But that aside, this figure is excellent. The face sculpt and scan is really well done. I love the hair sculpt. I love the color of the hair, how it has darker roots, it fades into the blonde. And what really stands out is the body sculpt. When they first announced that Zoe was getting an Elite, I was terrified they were just going to reuse old parts and kind of phone it in, right? But we got some uniquely sculpted arms and a torso piece that really does depict her muscular physique, and I think that's so awesome because Zoe is a strong, powerful woman, and she deserves to have that represented in figure form, and they did an excellent job here with that. I just love this figure. I think the attire is really fun. Also has some really good detail. I love the red with the tealish blue color. I think it looks cool. I like how the knee brace came with this figure, but yeah, this figure from head to toe is excellent, and I honestly don't think it gets the love it deserves from collectors out there. Maybe it's not in enough collectors' hands yet, but if you find this in the stores, I would definitely pick it up. And if you don't want to wait, go to ringsidecollectibles.com. I think it's $20 right now, so use coupon code LJV and order one because this figure should not be slept on. It is tremendous. At number 3, I have Toni Storm, Ringside Collectibles AEW exclusive. So this might be another controversial ranking. I'm sure a lot of collectors out there watching this would assume I'd rank her better on the countdown. And a lot of people out there, this is their number 1 women's wrestling figure of the year. And I can't argue that. But to me, there's one glaring issue with this figure that has really bothered me. And that's that the likeness is not good. Like, at all, in my opinion. I know that's controversial because everyone I've seen out there that has posted this figure just rants and raves about the likeness, how it looks just like Toni. But if you look at both heads and you compare it in a side-by-side to Tony, it actually doesn't resemble Tony, like, at all. Face shape, the scan, it doesn't look like Tony. Now, I sound crazy saying that because the amount of people online that said the likeness is perfect, it's spot on, but I think it's everything else that makes them kind of blind to the fact that it really doesn't look like Tony in the face, like, whatsoever. I think this sculpt and scan that I have applied on her, this head looks better, but it still doesn't look like Toni Storm. She has a very unique face shape, and they didn't capture that in figure form. But with all the negativity aside, this figure's amazing. We got a black and white timeless Toni Storm, y'all. I mean, the body sculpt's fantastic. The attire is fantastic. The fact that it's in black and white and grayscale is freaking amazing. Even the title belt is in grayscale, and it looks awesome. And I love that the red lips really stand out. I love that entrance robe. I mean, this figure is a lot of fun, and I could see a lot of people that think this should be number one. And hey, I think this will get a lot of first place votes in the Jillies Award Show for 2024. I really do think this will get a lot of first place votes. And I love this figure. I really do. I think it's excellent. But like I said, the one thing, and maybe it bothers me more than it should, or maybe I'm just too honed into the details, but if you look at the face scan and sculpt, if you think the face scan and sculpt resembles Tony perfectly, I suggest you do a side-by-side because it really doesn't, in my opinion. And that's why it's number 3, because if they nailed the sculpt and scan of her face, I think it probably would be number 1. At number 2, I have Julia Hart, AEW Unrivaled Series 16. So this figure, from head to toe, in my opinion, is absolutely perfect. Now, AEW Jazzwares, with their face sculpts and scans, a lot of times, sometimes they go the soft route and it's missing something, but this sculpt and scan of Julia is perfect. I think it resembles her perfectly, and the little details of the different colored eyes is unbelievable. I mean, that's such a cool detail that really adds to it. And the rest of the figure is tremendous. I think the body sculpt, perfect. The attire, the way it's applied, perfect. I think the entrance attire of the hat and the robe, perfect. It's also important to note she does even come with a little mask that has so much detail, but I love this figure's face sculpt and scan so much I don't want to display it with a mask on, but that's a cool little added bonus there. But this figure is truly amazing. I think when you display this figure, it is a work of art, in my opinion. I mean, this might be my personal favorite figure of the year because I love it so much, but I know it wasn't the easiest figure for collectors to get. I think it sold out on Ringside Collectibles after a little bit, so I think it was higher price on the aftermarket, but I think it's back in stock. So if you missed out on this Julia Hart figure, head over to Ringside Collectibles and pick it up because this figure is truly beautiful, and to this day, it is AEW Jazzwares' best women's wrestling figure, and they make some amazing women's wrestling figures, so that says a lot. At number 1, I have Asuka, WWE Ultimate Edition Series 20. Was there any doubt? Now, this was one of the first figures that I received in 2024, so I'm wondering if some people that watch this channel might have forgot that this figure came out in 2024, because it was so long ago. It was, I think, January, so technically this is a 2024 release, and it is eligible for the 2024 Jillies Award Show, but it was very early in the year. But let's talk about this Asuka. So this Asuka is unbelievable from head to toe, and as you can see in this image, this is displayed with just one of her heads and with her entrance robe on. When you take that entrance robe off, the figure gets even more awesome, in my opinion. And this is the first time we've gotten a women's Ultimate Edition figure with butterfly joints, which really enhances the mobility and articulation of the figure, so that's definitely a plus. But this figure from head to toe it's perfect. It is a tremendous, beautiful figure. There's so much detail that went into this. The only holdup is it is an Ultimate Edition figure, so it is on a higher price point, so you can decide whether that higher price point is worth it, if it gives this figure maybe an unfair advantage to the elites. But the Ultimate Edition figures, I mean, the price point is, what, $10 more than an elite, so it's really not that much more, so I don't think that's a big factor, but that's just something I wanted to throw out there. But yeah, This figure is amazing. Now, Bill McKenna definitely has a knack for putting a lot of detail in the Japanese women's wrestlers in WWE. I mean, look at the upcoming Kairi Sane. I was hoping to get that by the end of December, so it would be included in this video, but as it stands, I don't think I will get it in time. So at the time of this recording, at least, I don't have that Kairi in hand, or else that might be the #1 figure of the year, but looks like that might be coming in 2025. But as it stands, the best women's wrestling figure released in 2024 is this Ultimate Edition Asuka. If you don't have it, you need to order it. You need to buy it. There's so much detail that I can't even begin to explain. Just watch my full review on the channel because this figure is amazing. I hope you enjoyed today's top 10 women's wrestling figure video of 2024. Now, these were just my rankings, just my opinion. Let me know in the comments what your top 10 looks like. If you agree with me, if you disagree, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear y'all's opinions. And now that this video is out of the way, we are going to go forward and we are going to release the Jilly's Award Show voting videos. And in those videos, I'll release one video with all the Mattel WWE Women's Elites released in 2024, one video with all the WWE main event basic style figures released in 2024, and one video that shows all the AEW Women's Jazzverse figures released in 2024. And in that video's comment section, you will vote out of all the figures that are shown in the video what your vote is for the figure of the year. Now, we will have a bunch of different categories, but all of y'all vote for the top AEW, the top Elite, and the top main event figure of the year, and it's a lot of fun. I have so much fun compiling the votes, seeing the race as it stands, and I will include the Ultimate Edition Greatest Hit Charlotte and also this Asuka in the Elite video because they're very similar to price point and quality. So I'm really excited to do those videos. There's a lot of work that goes into those, so I wanted to get this top 10 video out to all of y'all, but I am super excited to get the Jilly's Award Show voting videos out next. So with that being said, thanks for stopping by LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. Make sure to subscribe to get a first look at all future women's wrestling figure reviews. Now have a happy new year, stay safe, and I'll see y'all very soon. Thanks for watching. Have a great night, y'all.